Welcome to this web training video where I'll show you the workings of the WordPress content management system and how to modify and update your site. First, head to your website URL and type in /wp-admin at the end to access the login page. Now log on using your credentials and you'll be presented with the dashboard page, which is in essence the interface of WordPress and the back end of your website. At any time you can click on your agency name on the top toolbar to switch between the front and the back end of the website. And you are greeted with the dashboard page upon login, which provides you with basic insights into elements such as the number of blog posts and pages you have, any recent comments to your site, and SEO overviews, amongst other tools. Down the left of the page is your WordPress sidebar, where you can manage all elements of your site. I will cover these one by one throughout the training. Click onto the Post tab to create and manage your blog posts. You only need to add these if you have a blog page set up on your site, as these will automatically filter onto that page once created. Let's add a new blog post by clicking the Add New button at the top. You'll notice that once we go through the video that the interface we see here will be similar, if not the same, for pages and packages, etc., which keeps it nice and simple to navigate through WordPress. First, add the title of your blog at the top, and you'll notice that once we click off this, it'll generate a permalink for us, which can also be edited if you want to give the title a custom name. This area here is the main content area, where you'll add the main content for the article. I'm just going to add some example heading and paragraph text. You can set a variety of style options for your text, such as heading and paragraph tags, bold, italic, and alignment options, and more. You can add images and video into your article via the Add Media button here. This will bring up your media library, which consists of all your previously uploaded images and video. Simply select one and choose the alignment. Perhaps give it a link and decide the size in which it will fit in the box. You can choose from small thumbnail options here to basically full width of the content area. Once decided, click Insert into Post. And that now appears in our main content area here. Next, select a category for the post. You would need to ensure that the blog category is selected so that it appears on the blog page, but feel free to add any additional tags that are relevant to the post. To add a new category, simply add New Category, give it a name, and it will automatically select it for you. Scroll further down and you'll notice this Set Featured Image area here. This is the main thumbnail that appears for the article on the blog page. Simply choose one from your media library. So these are the key details that you would need to add for your post. So once done, click the Publish button at the top. Your blog post is now saved and will now show on your blog page. Under the Media tab is where you find the media library. Here you can drag images straight onto the page to upload, or alternatively click Add New at the top to select them from your computer. Once uploaded, it will appear as the last thumbnail on the left. WordPress has a basic image editor which can be found by clicking on an image and then the Edit Image button at the bottom here. Here you can choose to rotate, reflect the image, and also set new dimensions for that image. You can set the size of your image to be more website friendly. If you have a large image, for example this one which is over 4,000 pixels wide, try reducing this down to 1920 pixels. which is the standard full image width, and will also load faster on your website. Just simply select Scale in order to save that change. You can also crop the image, which in order to do that, just simply drag over the image like so, and then set the boundaries for which you want to crop the image. This is particularly useful if you want to save a banner image to use in the top banner of the website page. Once you've found your cropped area, simply select Crop, and then Save, and that will save the changes to that updated image. Manage all of your website's pages under the Pages tab. You can search for specific pages alphabetically, page by page, or use the search bar at the top. If you hover over each page, you'll notice that you're given options to edit the page, which takes you to the full edit screen. You have the option to quick edit, which allows you to edit key information such as title, URL, the date that the post was published, and also whether to allow comments on the page or not. You also have the option to send the page to the bin. You can view how that page looks, or it gives you an option to edit this page with the Visual Composer. Let's go through the process of adding a new page, and in order to do that, just click Add New at the top. Give the page a title, just like we did with the blog post. And once we click off that, it will generate a permalink for that particular page. This is the content area here, where your main text content will appear. And you'll notice that you have this little toolbar here called Visual Composer. It gives you two options for the back-end editor and the front-end editor. And basically, this is a page building tool which enables you to add new elements to the page and arrange them in various column layouts. So the difference between the back-end and the front-end editor is if I was to click back-end editor now, you can add new elements here, whereas the front-end editor will then take you to the front end of the website and you can add new elements the same method. So in order to add new elements to the page, simply click Add Element. And you have a wide variety of different elements that you can add to the page, from Google Maps, video players, contact forms. So I'm just going to add a few of these in so you can see how they look. For example, if I were to Google Maps area here, simply select Google Maps and it'll automatically bring up the options for that. Follow the instructions below to find out how you would add your own Google Map in there. And once you've added these settings, click Save. So we can see my Google Maps has now been added in as a full column. If we wanted to change any of these columns, simply hover over this icon here, and you can see the column layouts here. So if I wanted two half columns, I'd simply click here, and then that will split that area into two columns, ready for me to add a new element here. For example, with the video player settings, I can simply paste a video link in there from Vimeo or YouTube, set the video width and ratio, and click Save. So I now have two half columns with two different elements in. If I ever wanted to rearrange any of these, you can simply hover over the arrow icon here and just drag to rearrange. If I wanted to drag individual elements into different orders, hovering over each element displays a green bar in which I can do the exact same thing and shuffle the elements around in different columns. Once you've added in your main content area, if you scroll a bit further down, you have this page option area here. Here you can select a range of modules to add to the page. As we use the Visual Composer for the majority of our elements, this area pretty much would just be used for adding packages, which will be your offers, and I will return to this section in the Adding Packages section later in the video. Once done, scroll back up to the top and click Publish to then save the page. This page is now saved, but you will also need to add this to the navigation menu so that it can be seen by your visitors. I will explain how to do this when I get to the menu section underneath the Appearances tab. For now, I can view the page by clicking on the top toolbar here. And now I can see how those elements in the Visual Composer work. So I've got my video player here and my Google Maps widget. Another way of accessing the Visual Composer on the front end is by navigating to the page you want to edit and just click on Edit with Visual Composer, and this will bring up our edit screen. To edit elements already on the page, simply hover over each section and it'll give you those options to edit the particular element, edit the column, or also it has options to rearrange these elements with that same green bar. In order to add new elements to the page, simply click on the plus icon on the top and it will bring up that menu. So just like before, we can simply add new elements. And once your element is placed in the section, just simply click on the arrow icon to then edit the settings of that particular element. Once you've made any changes to your web page, simply click Update to save those changes. Now we can exit the Visual Composer. Under the Comments tab, you can approve or delete any comments that have been posted onto your blog posts and packages. Any comments that people have submitted will not actually appear on your website until you have chosen to approve them. You can tick whether to allow comments or not in the Quick Edit menu of any posts, pages, and packages that you create. The Contact tab is where you can modify the contact form on your website. Simply click Edit under the top contact form in the list, and you'll be brought to the edit screen. As you can see, the fields are entered as text in little HTML tags. If you need to remove any fields, simply select the text and click Delete. If you want to add any new fields, you can select one of these boxes at the top and add it in. For example, let's choose text box. You can keep this name the same and then just enter your option fields here, separated by a break. Any changes that you make sure you click Save. Now we can see from our contact form that our new options have been added into the field. And if you wanted to remove these options, simply select the text, click Delete. The Forms tab is where you can edit the inquiry form. In order to edit the fields, simply click Edit. And these forms are easier to manage as they appear in interactive boxes, which in order to rearrange, just simply drag and drop. You can modify the settings under the drop-down arrow here. And in order to add new boxes to the field, simply choose one of these template fields on the left. Once you click one of those fields, it'll add itself to the bottom. Once you've added in the settings, you can simply click Save in order to update the form. Under the Appearance tab is where you'll find more cosmetic settings for the website, such as theme customization, a live customizer tool, widgets that are used in the footer, your navigation menus, installable plugins, and the CSS editor. If you navigate to Customize, this will bring up a live editor tool, in which if you wanted to change any of the colors on your website, this is where you can go to do this. As you'll notice from our left sidebar, you've got various options to change the colours on the site, and it also shows a preview of the website's front end on the right. For example, if I were to change the colour of this hover box here, I just navigate to the right element, which is under Colour Navigation, and then the Navigation Background Hover, and then just simply drag the palette around to change the colour. And you may notice that once I'm dragging this around, you can notice that the colour is also changing as well. So once you've found the colour that you want to, and you want to save all these settings you've made, simply click Save and Publish. However, if you want to edit or undo any of these changes, simply click the X and then Leave Page. The Widgets tab under the Appearance tab are basically elements that you can add into the footer of your website. So you may notice that from these columns here, under Footer column 1, 2, and 3, we have various widgets available. So if we look on the front end of our website, you'll notice that these particular widgets are in this bit here. In order to rearrange any of the widgets, simply just drag and drop in the order that you want. You can click on the drop down to edit the settings of each one. And also you can add new widgets from the available widgets section on the left. For example, if I were to add a search field to our footer, simply select it from the left and drag it over to the column that you want to add it to. Choose to give it a title and click Save. Once we refresh our page on the front end, scroll back down to the footer to then preview the changes. And also, in order to delete any of these modules, simply click Delete, and it'll then return to the menu on the left to be able to choose in the future again. The Menus tab is where you can manage your navigation menus. Firstly, select the menu that you want to manage, and you may notice that on your site you'll have two. You have the main navigation menu, which is the menu at the top, and also the footer menu, which is an extras menu on your footer area. Under the menu structure pane, you'll see how the menu is put together. You can rearrange any of these by just dragging and dropping. You may notice that some of these items are inset and have the item tag sub-item on them. These are basically menu items underneath the item above. For example, Australia is a sub-item of Australasia, and Australasia is a sub-item of luxury destinations. If we see how this looks on the front end, we notice that when we hover over each one, you can see how those sub-items are arranged. To set this hierarchy, simply drag these items left or right. To add new pages, navigate to this Pages box here, and you'll notice that we can search by the most recently created, view them all alphabetically, or search for a particular page name. Because I've just created a new title, this appears at the top here. So simply select all the pages that you want to add. WordPress allows you to multiple add in one go as well, which is quite useful. However, just because I want the one, I'm just going to choose this one here and then click Add to Menu. The page will then add itself to the end of the menu. So in order to rearrange, simply pick up the box and drop wherever you want it to be. So if I was to save this menu now to update, our new page should now appear as a submenu of Home, like so. And in order to remove any pages, simply click the drop down and click Remove. Head to the Plugins tab to manage your website's plugins. These are kind of additional modules to the website that you can add to apply extra functions. For example, the Contact Forms and Revolution slider are all plugins that have been added and configured. By the time your site goes live, all of the plugins you'll need should already be configured and set for you anyway. However, if you wanted to add any more yourself, simply click Add New at the top. And then this will take you to WordPress's library of plugins. Imagine like the App Store for Apple. Simply search for the plugin that you want, and it will bring up a result of different developers' plugins that you can basically pick and choose from. You'll be able to find a variety of plugins from anything from pop-ups to sign-up boxes, Google Maps and image galleries, basically anything you can think of to add any more function to the website. Chances are there's a plugin out there for it. Under Users, you can add and manage user accounts. In order to add a new one, simply click Add New at the top. You can fill in the form with the user's details. The username and email fields are required, and the first name, last name, and website are optional fields. You'll notice that WordPress automatically generates a password for that user. So if you leave it this way and ensure that this box is ticked down here, that will then send the user an email to notify them of the account creation, and they can also set their own password from that email. You can also choose to set the role for that user, from a subscriber who has the minimum amount of editing capabilities to administrator who has full control over changes of the website. Once all those are filled in, simply click Add New User to then send them that email. The settings menu contains top-level WordPress settings such as title, tagline, and URL of your site, as well as date and time format settings. All of these will pretty much be configured for your site from the start, and it's purely preference if you wanted to amend anything in here. And you'll notice that anything below the settings tab on the left sidebar are all options for plugins. One of the settings I will show you is under the contact form database here. And the contact form database shows all of the form entries on your website. You will receive new submissions instantly via email anyway. However, the website does store a table of all contact and inquiry form submissions that you can then export to various file formats. If you were to have a list of submissions here, you'll notice a drop-down box above, which will then enable you to export it as an Excel document, Google spreadsheet, HTML, etc., which is useful for storing the file locally as well as online. The Revolution Slider plugin is also an option that I will show you how to change. And the Revolution Slider is basically this full-page image banner in the background. If I refresh this, you'll notice that it has animated text and also changeable slides. And I will now show you how you would update the images and amend the text on these. Choose the slider which you want to edit, in which case most of the time it will just be a simple homepage slider here. So click the pencil icon to modify. This will then take you to the slider editor screen where you can see the individual slides aligned along the top here. And in order to rearrange any of these slides, you can simply drag into various different orders. And you'll notice that when you hover over each one, you have various different tools available to you, such as duplicate, which is your best option if you want to create a new slide, but retain all of the animation and text settings. You can choose to add this particular slide to your templates to use in a different slider, or you can delete that particular slide. For the exercise, I'm just going to duplicate this slide and show you how you would then edit the features on this one. So once duplicated, simply click on the thumbnail to edit, and then scroll a bit further down to change the background. Under the background tab here, you'll notice that you've got various different options to have as the background. You can choose to set an image background, which in order to change that is simply this button here, and this will then bring you back to your media library. Simply choose an alternative image and then click Insert. You also have other options to have a transparent background, a solid color, or a YouTube, Vimeo, or HTML5 video. In order to link up a YouTube video, it simply requires a YouTube ID, and I'll show you how you would add that now. Once you've found your YouTube video, simply navigate to the URL in the top, and then copy every character that's after the question mark, as this is the ID that it requests, and then paste in place. Once you save slide up here and update, then that video will automatically play that YouTube video in the background. The same process works with Vimeo videos, and HTML5 video is basically a self-hosted video. So if you uploaded a video to your website in any of these formats, you can simply click to change video, and then you can choose that video in your media library, or you can upload it fresh from your computer here. For now, I'm just going to keep the background image we had before. And if we scroll further down here, we'll notice that we have a large preview area here, so we can see how all the layers work. In order to edit any of this text, simply single click on it and click the edit button here. And then you can change your text like so. Once done, click the tick icon to save. And the same process can work with the subtext here. In order to change the style of any of this text, simply single click on the layer, and underneath the style tab here, you can choose from a variety of different style options. You can choose from a series of preset designs, or you can manually change the style using the font family list here. And you'll notice that after each change that you make, it'll automatically generate that preview. So you have other options like the font size, the line height, the font weight, which is basically how thick or thin the text is. You can change the color and also the alignment on the slider as well. In order to change the button link here, simply single click on the Read More button, and underneath Actions, you can then update the URL here. If you wanted to change any of the animation settings on the text, simply click on the layer you want to animate, and then back at the top here, if you click Animation, you'll then see the animation settings that have already been applied here. So this top bar here is the animation in, and this bottom bar here is the animation out. So at the moment we've got a slide in from the bottom. So for example, if you wanted to change that to a fade in, once you click that change, it'll then show you a little preview of how that will then appear. So if we just want to fade that out as well, that should then show our new animation. And once you set the main animation here, you can also choose various easing animation, which is basically how powerful it comes in, or whether you want it to come in smooth. You also have the animation speed here as well. So once you've made all the changes to your particular slider, simply click Save Slide again at the top, and then that will then save your changes. So if I refresh our homepage slider now, and I'm just going to click to navigate to our new slide, and then we can see that's been added in to our homepage. Finally, on the toolbar is the website options. The website options are specific settings to this travel theme. If you need to amend any of these, the most likely options will be under Overall Elements. You can change your logo in the header, amend the opening hours under top bar navigation. So your opening hours are here. Yeah, and you can also change the contact details as well. In order to update the number, it'll be this bit here. And if you need to update the email address, you would need to enter it here, and also in here as well. You can add or remove any of your social network channels in this area here. So for example, at the moment we have Facebook, Twitter, and email, and these will show up as these icons here. So as long as you have these fields filled in, then the icon will automatically appear. For example, if I were to add a YouTube channel, and then save, then that YouTube icon should now automatically appear. And likewise, if you want to remove any channels, simply leave the field blank. You can also manage the social share options on the website. So for example, under your blog posts and packages, you may have the option to enable people to share that offer on their page. So here you can choose basically which channels that you want to share it on. By default, it's set to Facebook and Twitter. However, you can simply tick any of these other ones on or off. Under the Package tab, this is where you can add, manage, and update your online offers. You may notice a list of existing entries on your site, and these are basically outdated offers that remain purely to showcase how the package modules work on the site. So once you take over and begin to populate it with new offers, these will then become obsolete, so feel free to delete these once live. Just like with the pages on the blog posts, hovering over each entry gives you various different options to edit. Edit will take you into the full edit screen. Quick Edit will give you various options to modify, for example, the title, URL, the date that it's published, which you can set to a future date if you want to for it to automatically go live in the future. You can set the package categories from here as well, and you can also choose whether to allow people to comment on that particular offer or not. You can also send that offer to the bin, or also view that offer, how it appears on the front end of the website. In order to add a new package, simply click Add New Package at the top, and you'll then be presented with the interface that we saw for the blog posts. Simply enter the title of your package here, and then once we click off that, it should automatically generate a permalink for that package, which you can then choose to edit if you want to. This is the main content area here for your package, so this will be where all the main information goes, like your itinerary, details on the destination and things like that. Although the special thing about this content area here is you have this option for adding in some sample content. So if you click Package Sample Content here, it'll then paste in some sample content for you to basically utilize. And just in case this option doesn't show up on your screen, if you enable this toolbar toggle here, that will then basically provide you with more fields and options, and it'll then reveal this sample content icon here. So I'll now just take you through the content that's in the sample content here. So you'll notice these elements are included inside these little tags here, and basically these just define what type of element it is. So for example, you'll see that you've got quote area here. So if you wanted to edit any of this, then basically you just need to replace this line here. You have a Google Map option here. So simply just paste in the location that you want to here. And you can also modify the height of the Google Map widget. You'll notice that you have a table itinerary here that you can simply add new fields to, and just some example text below that. You have a half column in this section here, which basically a YouTube video is added in there. So if you wanted to add your own video in, just simply replace this link. And you can also change the dimensions of it as well. Below that, you have some example heading and list text. So in between all of these li tags here are basically list options. So simply replace this text in order to change each item of the list. And finally below that, you have an example listed itinerary with some sample heading and paragraph styles as well. Once your content's added, navigate to the right here to categories, and basically select all the categories that are relevant to this particular offer. So as I know that I haven't got New Zealand added as a category, I'm just going to add that in now. And once I click Add New, that should automatically select that for me. Of course, if you have any other categories that you deem relevant to this particular offer, the more you select, the more relevant places that will then appear on the website. Once you've selected your categories, if you scroll a bit further down again on the right, you'll notice that you have this featured image area here, and this will basically be the primary thumbnail for that particular offer. So to set, simply select featured image here, and you can upload straight from your computer, or if you click on the media library tab here, you can upload one that's already been uploaded to your website. Once your featured image has been set, navigate to this Packge option area here, and just in case it's collapsed, simply select the icon here to open up the settings. So the Packge options here are basically primary information for that offer. So the first option that you want to add is the inside package thumbnail, which is basically just an image banner that appears once you click into the offer. So we'll change that, simply click upload. And for consistency, I tend to just choose the same image. However, you can also choose any image that you want to. Once you've found your image, simply select the size. Either choose large or full size so that it appears at the full width, and click insert. If you scroll further down, you'll notice that you have this available number option. By default, this is set to -1. Basically, all this means is it sets the available number of spaces available. So -1 wouldn't include a limited number, whereas if you, for example, had only 10 seats available, you can select that here. You can enable whether you want people to be able to share this on their social sites by selecting yes or no here. You can set a particular date type for the offer. So if you have none, it'll just be an ongoing thing. You can have a fixed date. So you can choose when the offer starts and when it finishes. Or also you can choose to set a duration, such as 12 nights. Here you will enter the price of the offer. And here you can set a specific location as well. You can choose to set a ribbon to appear over the thumbnail of the offer. So you can choose to have Learn More, which is basically just a link that goes straight into the offer, or you can choose to have a last minute option, which basically gives you a few more settings. You can choose to set some custom text for that offer. And also you have the option to set a discount your price. And finally, you can also choose to allow comments on this particular offer by either selecting or deselecting this option here. And once you've added all those offers in, simply scroll back up to the top and then click Publish. Now our offer is now saved to the website. However, our next step would be to set the page in which it will then show on. So if I navigate back to the Package tab here, our new offer should now appear at the top. So let's navigate to the page that we want to add the package to. Which will be Australasia, New Zealand. And we'll now add the package to this page, which will then appear underneath this text content area here. This will then take us to our edit screen of the page. So if we scroll further down, under the page option area here, this is basically where we'll then add the Packge module. From the drop-down area here, click Package and then Add Item. And you'll notice that it adds it in as a quarter column. So you can choose the plus and minus icons here to basically set the width of it. This is particularly useful if you wanted to add anything next to the module. But because we're not going to add anything else, I'm just going to set that to full width. And in order to edit the settings, click on the pencil icon here. You can choose to give this module a title, in which all of the New Zealand offers will then appear under. So I'm just going to choose an example one I've set there before. You can set the package style, which is in essence predominantly the size of each offer. So you can have a quarter size, a third, or a half, and you also have two options to choose from. So this first style and second style are pretty much different design options. So for example, the first style, the text and information will appear below the thumbnail, whereas the second style, it appears over the top. So it's purely preference as to which one you want to use. So I'm just going to go for a half grid style. The category that you choose here basically determines which offers will then filter onto this page. So if I select New Zealand, any New Zealand offers that you then add in the future will then automatically filter onto this page. So just be aware that once you do this process for one of the pages, you won't have to do that again. The number fetch option basically sets how many offers you want to display on a single page. For example, if I had 10 offers and I wanted to show 4, then basically other offers will then appear on page 2, page 3. You can set the number of characters you want in the excerpt below the thumbnail. And coming back to the number fetch before, this area you can enable the pagination of those offers. And you can also order them by date that they were created, alphabetically by title, or you can have a random order, and you can set those to be ascending or descending. So once you've added those offers in, click Done, and then scroll back up and then click Update, and then this will then save that Packge module onto our page. So in order to preview how the page looks on the front end, simply click View Page at the top. And then if we scroll further down, our new offer should now appear. So you'll notice that we've got the new heading that we added here, and everything below that is the information that we added into the Packge editor. So we've got the main featured image of the offer. We have a ribbon over the top. We have the title of the offer, the duration, our small excerpt, and also our price down here. And because we chose to set a discounted price, you can see that it crosses out the old one and also has the discounted one there. And if customers click on the Enquire button, it will then take them to a form that they can then fill out. And of course, this will then be emailed to you, and also it will appear in the contact form database on your website as well. So once we click into the offer, that should then show all the rest of our details. So this is the inside Packge thumbnail at the top, and the information around that is the key information we were entering before. Everything below that is the sample content we added before. So we can see we've got the quote at the top here, and this would be the interactive Google map. You have your table itinerary below there with some sample paragraph text. This would be where your YouTube video would be, and this is your list on the right. And below that we have our listed itinerary with the social share options that we saw before. So because in our theme options we enabled Facebook and Twitter to be shared, these are the icons that appear. So these are particularly useful tools for both your customers and yourselves, as you can then share your particular offers with your Facebook business page, which will then copy across the link and an excerpt of all the information for that particular offer as well.